Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we are looking at a brilliant little slice of life essay titled, Tonight I Am a Guilty Husband. And I've got to say, it perfectly captures something so deeply human and universally relatable. I mean, we've all been there, right? Picture this. It's a heavily overcast, mid-June weekend. The rain is just relentlessly pouring down outside, and that heavy, damp, kind of suffocating atmosphere has completely taken over the house. It's that very specific, highly demotivating feeling when all your grand, productive weekend plans just completely evaporate into the humid air. Okay, let's dive into this. The whole inciting incident begins with a husband who has, at this point, essentially melted deep into the living room sofa. Out of nowhere, he turns to his wife and drops a terrible, classic dad joke pun to kick off this sudden, totally unprompted confession. In Japanese, he says, "Iwake shitemo iwake," which literally translates to asking, is it okay to make an excuse while, of course, laughing at his own joke. The wife is just observing this from the sidelines, and she notes that he's basically acting as his own judge and jury here. It's just the perfect comedic opening to what becomes a rather grand presentation of his weekend failures. To really understand the husband's mindset here, you just have to look at the environment. The author paints a picture of this gloomy mid-June weekend right in the middle of the rainy season. You know the kind where the sound of the rain just never stops, and the moisture seems to seep right into the living room. It honestly feels like even the laundry hanging by the window has just thrown in the towel and given up. And according to his wife, this dampness seems to have completely soaked into her husband's motivation, causing it to just swell up and lose all its shape. It really sets the absolute perfect stage for an afternoon of doing absolutely nothing. Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer comedic gap between his dramatic, grand confessions and these incredibly mundane failures. I mean, he had three main goals. First, his goal to read a book every week. The reality is, it's sitting there entirely unopened. Second, his weekly movie? Unwatched. And his excuse? Well, I have to watch the World Cup. But my absolute favorite is his scheduled liver rest day, where he's not supposed to drink alcohol. The reality? Missing in action. His defense is simply, summer is coming, followed by this cheeky, unapologetic little smile. His wife dryly notes that she had absolutely no idea the human liver was expected to operate 24/7 without breaks, just because summer was approaching. So you might be wondering, why this sudden urge to confess these absolute non-crimes to his wife? Well, it turns out our husband has been reading up on modern marketing trends. He proudly explains to her that young people today have this trend called guilty consumption. Food and beverage makers are totally capitalizing on this. When younger generations eat a high-calorie late-night snack or stay up way past their bedtime, they don't hide it in shame. Instead, they post it on social media with the phrase, "Tonight I am guilty." They're showcasing these minor indulgences in this cute, relatable way. And our husband? He decided he wanted to proudly partake in this modern youth trend right from the comfort of his own sofa. But here is where we hit a hilarious generational disconnect. On one hand, you have the modern youth, cute social media posts, aesthetic late-night snacks, a really lighthearted embrace of minor sins. On the other hand, you have the husband. His wife points out that the very moment her husband hears the phrase, "tonight is guilty," his Showa-era mindset bypasses TikTok entirely and instantly jumps straight to the lyrics of Michael Jackson's hit song, Beat It. His mental image of what constitutes trendy youth culture is anchored firmly in the retro pop culture of his own past, which honestly just adds this incredible layer of charm to his whole confession. As his wife is listening to all of this, she starts to unpack the deeper psychology behind this entire interaction. Like, why do human beings feel this innate need to confess our minor failures to others? The core realization here is that sharing our guilt physically lightens the emotional burden. Telling someone else, "Hey, I messed up," or "I was so lazy today," makes the weight of that procrastination so much easier to carry. The physical facts of the situation haven't changed at all, right? The book is still unread, but by externalizing it and sharing a laugh over it, the internal pressure we put on ourselves is instantly relieved. And this brilliantly illustrates how the medium of sharing guilt has evolved over the decades, while the underlying human need remains exactly the same. The husband reminisces about the 1990s, those pre-internet days. Back then, if you watched a TV drama instead of studying for a test, you'd find your friends the next morning at school and be like, "Did you watch it too?" It was a literal next morning presentation of guilt. Fast forward to the 2020s and it's instant, posting "guilty tonight" on social media. And that brings us to present day, where a husband bypasses the internet entirely just to confess his procrastination to his wife. The delivery system changes, but finding an accomplice for our minor sins, that's a timeless human tradition. The wife brings a really wonderful, grounded perspective to this whole ordeal. She realizes that, first of all, confessing failures with a smile actually makes it so much easier to just try again. Secondly, laughing about it removes the serious, heavy stigma of procrastination that often paralyzes us from moving forward. It's like if you hide your failure, it grows. If you laugh at it, it shrinks. But she does add a very crucial, pragmatic third point as a warning. Laughing with your spouse doesn't magically read the book stacked on your desk, and it for sure doesn't heal a tired liver. Now, just when you think the conversation is naturally winding down, the husband gets this spark of inspiration. He is absolutely fascinated by the fact that beverage companies created a whole marketing campaign around guilty consumption. He muses that, artificial intelligence could never organically create a nuanced, culturally resonant human trend like that from scratch. But then, a realization hits him. While AI can't create the original trend, it might just be the absolute perfect tool for generating derivative, secondhand excuses for his procrastination. Which leads to this absolutely absurd moment. Staring at his device, the husband declares to his AI assistant, whom he has affectionately nicknamed Chappie, "Chappie, I won't let you sleep tonight." Just kidding. I mean, no way, right? The wife realizes with amusement that her husband's long, rambling conversation is no longer even directed at her. Tonight, it is the AI that's going to have to stay up late, forced to listen to his prompts, and help him generate a brand new list of cute, trendy excuses for why he didn't accomplish a single thing this weekend. As the rain outside finally begins to soften, the wife comes to this really warm, forgiving resolution. She notes that as long as they are still at a place where they can just sit, talk, and laugh together about these silly little shortcomings, everything is going to be all right. Her takeaway is honestly a masterclass in marital patience. Next weekend, she will wait for him to finally open that unread book, but she will do so without expecting too much. It's a beautiful reminder that relentless productivity isn't the only measure of a successful weekend. Sometimes just sharing a gentle laugh over our shared imperfections is more than enough. So that brings us to the end of our explainer today. And I really have to ask you, what small failure will you laugh off this weekend? We put so much pressure on ourselves, don't we, to be perfectly optimized, perfectly productive every single day. But maybe, just maybe, there's profound value in a little guilty consumption of your own. So forgive yourself for the unread book, the unwatched movie, or the diet you broke. Have a laugh about it, share the guilt with someone, and I promise you'll feel a lot more ready to try again next week. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.